Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wise Kracks, featuring the Krack Man himself, Bill Krackenberger, and our co-host, Jon Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wise Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Wise Kracks. I'm Jon Orlando, sitting in here in Las Vegas, and I've also got the man, the myth, the legend, Bill Krackenberger, Krack Man. We're in round 7. Can you believe this? This is our 7th episode together.
Wow. And they have flown by. I would have lost money on that bet. That would have been a losing bet. 7 episodes already. So, yeah, good to be here, John. Good to see you again. And we got Thanksgiving upon us here, so it's nice to get out this video here for the people. And then maybe they have a little break and get to take in some of the wisecracks.
Yeah, for sure, Krack. And we've got a lot going on this week. You know, we've got football is deep in the season right now. We've got college basketball starting up this week. Got a lot of exciting things happening in the sports world.
Yeah, you know, we have Thanksgiving Day is always a good day to bet. There's a lot of stuff on, always some college games, pro games, NFL games, of course. So this is going to be really an exciting week, though, because of the college basketball for me, too. I love betting college basketball. We're taking it a little bit slower, maybe, because it's hard to even find. I was looking for overnight lineups. Boy, they're not even putting the lineups yet, who's going to be on these teams and represented on these courts. So very interesting year here. This COVID has really put a damper on a lot of spirits. So we're going to try to get right in and catch up with this college basketball after a day or two.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that college basketball season is going to mirror the NFL in terms of, since there's limited attendance and, you know, is there really a home field playing advantage anymore? Do you think all that's going to factor in and we're going to see crazy over the top totals?
Well, it's not like the football games where they're allowing some people to go in some of the stadiums. I think it's 25% capacity of fans. This is an indoor sport, so it's going to be a little bit different. We're kind of at a wait and see of what's going to be allowed. Look, the first day I think there was 17 games that were canceled already. So yeah, we're under wait and see here. Let's see what happens. We're gonna hopefully get through this thing, and hopefully in 2 months we'll start back up on everything being back to a little more normal anyway.
Right. Now, Krack, I know a lot of people are probably itching to know the answer to how did you do last week with sports betting?
Good. We had a good week. Yeah. You know, even the Krack wins guys. You know, a lot of games out when I'm betting them in Vegas, those half points and full points, my guys can't get. So I won't do that. A lot of other guys do that. They'll send out which is called unobtainable lines. I won't do that. I won't compromise with my Krack wins guys. I'm going to send you out a line that you know you're going to be able to bet the line. So all those guys that did do that also won last week. So we're having a great year. And to be real blunt with you, ever since I started the site and the app, we've won a lot. We've won over 150 units of profit. So that's after juice. So yeah, it's going great. Good. It's going good.
That's awesome. Glad to hear that. So we've got it's Thanksgiving week. What does Thanksgiving week look like in the world of Krack? What do you do Thanksgiving?
Well, I got to be blunt here. I'm not the celebratory person I was a couple of years ago. My parents were here. So Thanksgiving was a really big holiday. My old-fashioned, out of central casting Italian mother from the Bronx, there was a big thing. It was a big feast of get together with the family, not just the food, just to get together with my aunts and uncles. And my mother was Italian. She was the greatest cook. I mean, she had her and her sister would go into the kitchen and just cook for days. The antipasta was the first section, the first serving. And the antipasta my mother made, it was like I always say, Mom, who are you feeding here? There's 9 of us.
Right.
You made antipasta for 25. It was a giant antipasta, for 25 people. And the old school Italians are, but you never know, Bill. I don't know. Maybe someone stop over. You never know. You got to make extra things and put it. She used to make homemade pies too, homemade crust and everything. This was like unbelievable stuff that went on in my house. And then it was the stories. It was always everyone getting mad because the football games are on in the background. The ladies getting mad. We cooked all day. We don't want to hear these things. Put some music on, holiday music. And then they're very expressive Italians, if anyone knows. Anyone, just look at the Green Book. Watch the movie The Green Book, and you see how they are at the end when the music comes on. It always gets me touched. It gets to me a little bit because I don't have that anymore. I love my wife to death, but my wife is waspy. She just, she doesn't. We just don't. But she did get some of my parents, my mother's recipes, though. God bless her. And my cousin wrote all the recipes down. So let me ask you a question, Jon. What was it like in your life growing up for Thanksgiving?
Well, I'm going to tell you in 1 second, but you just said Green Book, and I want to share, you're going to love this quick little tidbit. So in the very beginning of the movie Green Book, they reference the maitre d' at the Copa, Carmine. Yeah. That was my dad's uncle.
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
That's so cool. I love that movie. It's in my top 20 of all time.
Yeah. Great movie.
Love
but yeah, Thanksgiving for me, I didn't have a big fan. So, all my dad's relatives, both my parents were from the East Coast, from New York. My mom grew up in the Bronx. My dad grew up in Chelsea. And so all of our relatives were back East. So when my dad, in the 70s, when, he had the TV show and stuff, it was just, we were a very small family. It was just me, my mom, my dad, and I had my brother from my mom's first marriage, and then a couple friends would come over. But my best Thanksgiving memories were as I got a little older, and my dad would usually be doing shows. He'd be on the road. Thanksgiving night was actually a big night for entertainment. So I used to love having Thanksgiving on the road with the band, which is just like family. My dad's band was the same from the time I was 3 years old all the way up to I was 20 something. So, I grew up with these guys, and when you're little, 5, 6 years old, and you grew up backstage in the dressing room, the drummer was he was a rock star to me, our drummer, or the guitar player, so I idolized these guys because I would always be sitting in their dressing room, and I'd hear these crazy adult conversations as a 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old. And I just thought it was so cool. And so I have really fond memories of Thanksgiving, afternoon, eating with everybody, in some big fancy hotel suite on the road with my dad, and then watching him do the show later that night. So it was definitely always good times. And I like my turkey, but I'm with you. I like my spaghetti and meatballs on.
Oh wow, I like Italian food. Cool. So you were actually on the road with your dad. And for people that don't realize it, his father is Tony Orlando. So you were on the road all over the country celebrating Thanksgiving at different locations every year because you're right. People don't realize this. Thanksgiving's actually a pretty big night in the casino business. People, everyone goes to bed. The kids go to bed early, and a lot of times the adults will gamble a little bit around the house. But sometimes the adults actually will go to places like Atlantic City at night that night, or even out, if you're in Las Vegas, which is more of a tourist destination. The locals will come into the casinos at night. So and you said that night they actually had a Tony Orlando show. As a matter of fact, your dad performs at the South Point still. I see. It's like a Christmas show once in a while, right?
Yeah. Every year he does a Christmas show. Obviously this year's a little different, but
sure.
Yeah, he's been doing that Christmas show since 1993. Different versions of it, and he's done it, in Branson, Missouri.
How is your dad? Is he just? What's he doing? Is he just? He lives in Branson, right?
He lives in Branson. He's got cabin fever right now, like everybody else with this year. But he just landed a fun new gig. I'm glad you asked. He just landed a fun gig hosting a radio show on WABC in New York. And it's just from 10 o'clock until midnight East Coast time. And it's just my dad telling stories and playing songs that he likes from all eras. He'll play 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And then he'll have special guests on. He had Lionel Richie on his first show. He had Adam Sandler call in. He's had Bobby Vinton on, I think, last week. So, yeah, he's having a blast. He's never done a radio show. He's always guests. Yeah. So he's been having some fun with it.
And WABC in New York is a giant show, 770 AM. Fantastic. I grew up with that. So, great.
Yeah, and the cool thing now is you can listen online. You just go to WABC.com and you can listen to the show. So yeah, it's been fun to it's fun for him to be working. It's how it is too. Like imagine if what you probably experienced it when there was no sports for those first few months of COVID.
The four walls close in on you, man. It's
right.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So good, man.
Well, but speaking of sports, I had a fun week last week, Krack.
Yes.
My parlay addiction paid off.
I heard about this. Yeah,
I tweeted and I specifically tagged you and I tagged WSN. I was so happy and proud of myself. I went 10 for 10 for UFC 255 last week.
That's unbelievable.
Last Saturday.
That's all. Your UFC is really good. People should pay attention now to your UFC because you're in tune with that too. That's your business.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Dan Henderson on.
Oh man,
Dan Henderson on soon there too. He's gonna come on with it.
I can't wait.
Well, good job, man. We're going to look forward to seeing your picks here. Do you post them on Twitter? You post them online?
I post them. I'm trying to get better with Twitter ever since I started working with you because I know you've such a huge following on Twitter. I'm trying to be more active on there. And I don't remember if I posted them on Twitter last week, but I absolutely post them on my Instagram.
On Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, good, man. That's good stuff. Let's get into another area. How about the Colts? Colts and the Packers were like a big game last week, back and forth.
Yeah.
Almost even a comeback there for the Colts to win that game. That was exciting. And I had the over in that game, so I was happy about that game. But we've had some fun games in the NFL back and forth. Some of these primetime games have been some fun stuff too. It's funny. I've seen Brady a couple times now with his Bucs on the sidelines. He's a couple primetime games seems really deflated. I mean, the last time he was deflated though, he came back with like 5 touchdowns the next week. So hopefully that same thing will happen for him. I like Tom Brady. He's fine, but if I'm betting against him, I'm rooting against him. So it is what it is. My only allegiance is my bankroll, as you guys know.
Yeah, I was shocked about the Saints game. I kind of wrote them off without Drew Brees, and I guess I was wrong.
Yeah, no, Taysom Hill came back and. I shouldn't say came back good in his first start. He proved to be a good guy for that team. I got to tell you, Atlanta. I didn't bet the game. Atlanta was the wise guy side of the game. I know on the parlay cards, which come out on Thursday, the line was 4.5 or 5, and sure enough, by game time, that line was 3. So Atlanta was the wise guy side. The wise guys did not get the money in that game.
And when there is a change like that, when a big player gets injured, like a Dak Prescott or something like that. That isn't a game that you automatically want to key in on. It's
baked into the line already. The bookmakers already know before they put the line up next week. The originating bookmakers, they're going to have that in the line already. So when Dak goes down, you're going to artificially get a couple points added to that side if you want to pick Dallas because they know everyone's saying, "Oh, he's out. Oh, forget it. We got to bet against Dallas." Well, if you bet against Dallas, you're going to pay a premium for it.
Right. And speaking of which,
you got the Dallas jersey on. Yeah, that was a giant game for them.
You said something last week. I owe it to you. I almost went off course last week because I gave my picks was the Cowboys, the Jets. I was convinced the Jets were going to win their first game. They played them tough.
They almost did. They played good. They covered. Yeah.
But I was only going to do money line. Sorry, I was only going to do money line, and because of you, I did one parlay with just money line, Jets, Cowboys, and Jacksonville. Forgive me. And then I did a parlay just Jets and Cowboys, and I did it with the spread. So I actually was able to cash on that, and I bet them each straight up per your directions. And because you said something to me, you said if just one of those dogs win, because I was betting money line, you're good.
Yes.
And so it ended up really great. So thank you.
Yeah, no. And again, look at these lines again. Last week, Minnesota was like 7.5 point favorite. Dallas beating them outright. Don't forget now, guys, any given Sunday, anything can happen. This is the NFL. So
yeah. Cool. Well, with another week in the books, Bill, I want to remind everybody at home that you should check out WSN.com. They've got all of the information that you need to make the right picks each week, week in and week out, and as well as all of the great sign-up bonuses at all the different sites. So check out WSN.com today.
You know, John, I was just on WSN before we got on, and I was talking about the different articles there. It's amazing. I was telling the producers of our show, I can't believe how many articles are on WSN. Daily articles they put up, or weekly articles. But I want you to know too, when you're on the site, I'm on it right now in the background here, guys. When you're on it, click on all news, and you're going to get some great articles about the industry, which is big to me. I like to know what's going on in the different jurisdictions that have legalized sports betting. So there's some great articles there. One about a Golden Nugget taking on a new partner for their online gaming. Optimism in Ohio projected for sports wagering future there. There's a lot of different articles on what's going on, and like I said, in your jurisdiction. But most importantly, it's the bonus article, which is right on the homepage now. Now I'm going back to the homepage. The homepage has an article on the site. It says bonus in big neon letters. If you click on that, you could see how many bonuses you get in your jurisdiction or where you want to bet sports. And you can go under each different state that has legalized sports betting. And the best bonuses are here. This is the first time I ever realized this. I click on it, and I see bonuses here in New Jersey that I'm looking for. I didn't even know they were available, because let's just face it, they put different promo codes on different sites they advertise on. Well, here I see 888, I see BetMGM, I see Sugar House, I see so many different places with $500 bonuses, whereas I seen on Twitter they only had $250. You know, I see a William Hill bonus here of $500. Well, here in New Jersey, if you go sign up for a new account, you only get $50. I just found out today from WSN, if I click on their link, you can get $500 bonus, which is so different. So anyway, I know I'm going overboard with the bonuses, but hey, it's a big part of your game. What's wrong with taking advantage of a $500 free bet when you sign up with a book?
I mean, crazy not to do it. I'll tell you what else you're crazy not to do. You're crazy not to do the Krack Wins app. That's the perfect complement to the WSN.com info. Download the Krack Wins app today. It's on Google. It's on Apple. And as a matter of fact, let me tell you something. With college basketball starting up, Krack, that's kind of your specialty. I mean, it's all your specialty, yes, but you've had a lot of success, right?
This year, I've unbelievable success in the NFL. It's a very unusual year because of the situation we're in. We have just destroyed the proposition bets. We beat the totals, won for the year, having a fantastic year. Looking forward for college basketball to start here. You can also, not only can you get my picks there, you can also go for the fantastic articles that we have, sports betting articles on bankroll management and different things. Just how about finding things in Las Vegas, places to eat and stuff. I have articles on that too, so thanks.
I'll tell you what, can I do something fun right now, Krack? You don't even know I'm going to do this. I'm going to do something fun, okay? First person to show me that they downloaded the Krack Wins app and they took one of these subscription plans. First person to show me proof of that, slide into my DM on Instagram. I've got you 2 nights comped at a Las Vegas Strip hotel, courtesy of me. How about that? How about that, Krack?
Good deal.
That's how much I believe
sign up for my own thing for the free rooms.
All right, Krack, it's that time to bring on our guest this week. We've got a fantastic one that you've wrangled. We've got Jerry Shoebox, and we sat down with him a little earlier, and here's what he had to say.
Hey, happy to have longtime industry veteran line maker / bookmaker. He's not a bookmaker himself, but he's worked for some of the biggest ones in the world. Jerry Shoebox, welcome to the podcast, buddy.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a long time. I'm glad you invited me on. I couldn't wait to do it.
Cool, man. Well, hey, listen, Jerry, I want to thank you again for coming on, and I want to introduce you to my co-host, Jon Orlando. So, Jon, Jerry, Jon.
Hey,
good
Jon,
to see
how
you.
you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. Good to see you.
Like the jersey.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you. It was a big week last week. It was a big week.
You could finally wear it.
Finally.
All right. So Jerry, we met, I guess, around 20 years ago in Curacao when I was writing a story for some different, rating some different sports books down in Curacao, Antigua, Costa Rica, and somewhat. So we met back then, and we just kind of, took to each other and hung out and got, 2 guys from back east from New York. And lots of things have changed from then to now in both of our lives tremendously. So we have some questions for you and look forward to hanging out with you here today. Was it 20 years, right, Jerry?
Yeah, I've known you for 20 years. I actually started 3 years before I met you down in Venezuela, Margarita Island in '97. So I've been doing this for 23 years, and I'm a lot younger than I look.
Well, that leads to a great question. I didn't really, I forgot about the Venezuela thing. Where did you actually grow up? Tell all the listeners and viewers, where did you grow up? How'd you get into sports betting and then sports booking?
Yeah, so it's a funny story, and everyone has their own story, and they're all a little different. I grew up in the Bronx, kind of like you on the East Coast over there, and I moved to a place called Yonkers, which is right on the Bronx border there. All throughout high school and college, I used to bartend on the side, just like these other kids in the Bronx do. And I worked at like a kind of mobbed up restaurant called Dominic's over there on Arthur Avenue, down by Fordham University. And the guys who were the biggest tippers, the guys who had the most money, who always busted out a knot and took care of me, I said, what do you guys do? Like, I had no idea. What do you guys do for a living? They said, oh, we're bookmakers. So of course, me being money hungry, I went after the money. And I was very nice with them. I cozied up with them. And one day a guy said, hey, we're moving to Margarita Island, Venezuela. You want a job? This is what we can do for you. You know, I was 19 years old. I'm sitting in the restaurant, I'm bartending, and I knew that I just graduated from Iona College with an accounting degree, but I'm not sure if that was my future. I said I wanted to make the most money possible. So I followed them down there, and I went to Margarita Island. I couldn't point to it on a map. And that's how it started. That's literally how it started.
Wow, that's incredible.
That's incredible. Margarita was your first place. Now, what year was that approximately, Jared? Like 98?
This is 97. 1997, football season into 97, around August.
Wow. And now a book like that, now, do they have the customers in Margarita? Like their customers, are they posting up money? Are they sending money? Was there a marketing or advertising? Or were they just the local guys back home?
Back then, it was the local guys that, they wanted to be legal, in Venezuela. They were licensed, they were legal, they paid taxes. They just wanted to escape, the pressure from the United States. So they went down there, they brought me down there, and I just answered phones and just clerked in the beginning. And I thought I knew a lot. And Bill, let me tell you, I knew nothing. I thought I was the smartest guy in the room, and I absolutely knew nothing. When the pokers used to come in, or Billy would come in, we'd write the play on the board. And when I saw a game where he would lay 4 and it would be 6.5 in 30 seconds, I had no clue what was going on. So those guys.
What Jerry's telling, because the audience is kind of new to this kind of stuff too. What Jerry's saying when he says the poker or Billy, meaning the poker players were a syndicate group of very sharp players, and Billy Walters is Billy, and he's also had a very sharp handicapper that worked for him. And Billy, these guys would move lines. So when he's saying something went from 4 to 6.5, that means they bet to 4, and in a matter of seconds, the game went to minus 6.5. So that's what Jerry's saying there. So basically, you actually, broke your bones, earned your bones there in Venezuela before heading out to other places like Curacao. I'm curious to know this. What did you like better? Probably Venezuela than Curacao?
I love Venezuela. This was pre-Chavez, and the dollar went a long way. I'll tell you that the average salary for a local Venezuelan at that time was $200 per month. Oh, wow. I was getting $100 cash per day. So in 2 days, I made what they made in a month. So just do the math. I lived a 2-bedroom looking over the ocean with an Olympic-sized swimming pool, valet, security guard. I paid $250 a month. So I lived like a king. So that was top notch for me. Again, it was pre-Chavez. After he came in, we had to leave, and that's when I went over to Curacao.
Okay, yeah. So that was better. Yeah. Go ahead, Jono.
Jerry, I'm wondering, what did your parents say when you said you were moving to Venezuela?
I was not expecting that question, but here's a pretty funny answer to that. I lied. I told them I was moving to Cincinnati. And don't ask me where I came to Cincinnati. I said, I'm going to pick a random place in the United States that I know that they're never going to come visit me in. So I told them I got a job in Cincinnati in an accounting firm. I never told them. And God forbid, my father passed away never knowing. I mean, this is a long time ago. But my mom, I was honest with her after a little while. But I lived for at least 1.5 years without them knowing where I was.
That's unbelievable.
Why?
I was scared.
Why wouldn't you just tell them the truth? They were that old-fashioned. Listen.
You want to know why, Bill?
Growing up in the Bronx,
this is an easy answer. I grew up in the Bronx. My father is a retired detective sergeant. So we were on polar opposite ends of the spectrum. He probably would have killed me if he knew what I was doing. I'm not lying. He probably
now
would.
It makes more sense.
You know how the Bronx fathers are, so.
Oh yeah. Now it makes more sense. That's fantastic, All right, let's get into another question here, Jer. When sports betting was legalized in New Jersey, some people, including major news organizations, I remember the New York Post had on the front of the Post, this is the end of the road for the mafia because sports betting is now legal in New Jersey. I mean, what do you think? And I'll also give you my opinion and my answer here in a second.
Well, I mean, it almost made them stronger, Bill. I mean, you remember when they tried the prohibition with the alcohol and they went to the mob for the alcohol. You remember with the numbers. I remember as recent as 10 years ago, people still playing the numbers in the local Italian restaurant because they gave better payout than the government did. And sports betting's the same. When you see when they tried to launch and people are trying to force $1.14, $1.15, again, minus 112, minus 13, 114, adding the juice. Look, it's not Europe. It's not England. It's not anywhere else. We grew up, gambling's in our blood, and we all had our corner bookie. Everybody did, no matter where you grew up. You grew up Chicago, Philly, New York. So you're not as easily going to get pried away from that, especially when the people who came in were ripping you off. They thought you were an idiot. They thought you didn't know what you were doing. So they decided to raise the vig, raise the juice, and just think everybody would get in line. And guess what? That didn't happen. So that's a joke if they thought it was the end of the mob bookmakers.
I remember Jerry and I were really instrumental. I remember the guy from the Meadowlands actually emailing me, or Meadowlands, yes, emailing me, saying that he didn't realize that the juice was going to be with these Euro companies, what Jerry was talking about earlier. We're used to laying $1.10 to win 100 on any NFL game, basketball game, whatever it may be. So these books came over from Europe. All of these books, by the way, it was all of these sports books came over here, and they just tried to charge, instead of laying $1.10, now they tried to charge $1.14, $1.15 on both sides. And, the Americans really aren't going to have it. We were New Jersey, like you said, just like New York or one of those places, Philly or Chicago, New Jersey, everyone had a local bookmaker. So they were used to laying 110 all the time anyway. So, but these books that came over here, let's just call it what it is. They just thought we were stupid. And they were going, oh yeah, they'll lay $1.15 on both sides.
They thought we were stupid. You hit it right on the head.
Not gonna happen. And that actually, like you said, actually helped the illegal bookmaker, the bookmakers that were here already established as, you can go to any local pool hall or candy store or anything and find a bookmaker, any bar, everyone's buddy's a book. So what this did was it actually helped them because it showed people that were going up to the Meadowlands or Monmouth Park or whatever it may be, that, instead of laying more money on your lines there with these new Euro companies that have come out, you actually can lay $1.10 with a local guy. The only difference is there's some risk involved there. People like to physically touch their money in the ticket after a game's over. They don't know what a credit line is. But all these kids, and I say kids because let's face it, their marketing of the FanDuel and the DraftKings is to the fantasy world, which is a younger world, younger guys in there, the millennials. All these kids were now going to be betting sports, running down to the Meadowlands and stuff because they grew up on guys like, Kobe and Shaq and now LeBron. And so everyone thinks they're a sports handicapper now. All these kids went down there and literally posted up their money, and they're laying $1.14, $1.15. But guys like Jerry and I were instrumental, though. We were on Twitter. We were going after all these sports books. A lot of people were involved in these conversations. I'd like to think we were instrumental in changing the whole movement of now laying $1.10. I mean, imagine we have to post up our money. We have to lay $1.10 to win $100. And now we have to pay and hope that we don't lose our ticket, we don't die or something. And now we have to beg just to lay $1.10 instead of $1.15. It's crazy, it really is. And they still haven't adapted. The money lines are still way too high on Jersey books and stuff. But yeah, we were so there. And I don't think so either. I think that bookmakers will be around forever because all these kids that did grow up on these guys, they go out and gamble to these places. They run out of money. What do they do when you're out of money? Man, I want to gamble. They go to credit. They want to find a credit book. So you've created a whole new genre, all these new guys that are sports bettors. So those illegal books are not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere until, and again, Bill, you and I, we do take credit for, because I don't want to mention books by name, okay? But some of them have gotten better. They dropped the 14 and the 12. They're at $1.10. They still got a long way to go. But until they offer a product, and again, legalizing it was supposed to kill everybody and all the revenue come to the U.S. government. But until they allow them to compete, where give a product where guys like Jerry and Bill will say, you know what, I'm going to go to XYZ in Atlantic City because my money is safe and I get a fair price. Okay. As long as I get a fair price, I have no reason to go to an illegal bookmaker if I get fair pricing.
Fantastic point. Jon, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating for me to sit here and listen to both of you. And I've asked you this before, Krack, and I'm going to ask Jerry, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, what you guys do was frowned upon. Some people would have called you a degenerate, and it's become so mainstream. And I'm wondering, like, Jerry, did you ever think you'd see that day where you guys are legit celebs now? Like, you may not even realize that you are, but, I think people look at you that do make bets and stuff and that are in the sports world. They look at you guys like it's just as cool to meet you as it is a player. And how does it make you feel?
Yeah, that's pretty funny because didn't you hear how I opened this up? I lied to my dad and my mom about what I was doing. So of course it was like in the back alleys and it was, taboo. And my friends, even when I was walking around school, I told you went to Iona College and they're like, oh, that guy, he's a gambler over there. He's a sport, people looking at you like you didn't belong in society. And now, Bill more than anyone, that show Action, everybody, if Bill walks into a casino anywhere I'm not going to say the world, but definitely the United States, people know who he is and they want to know who he's on. Yeah, I never thought I'd see this day, ever, honestly. And I'm happy. It's still got a lot of work, though, because guys like me, Bill has done better than I have adapting, but guys like me still have trouble knocking down the door because I have the stigma of working offshore. That's, still a knock against me, but that'll wash off sooner enough.
And that leads to my next question, actually, what you just said, because we've talked about this in the past, and I know a couple of guys that have made that transition from the offshore sportsbook world to working in brick and mortar casinos, whether it be on the East Coast or West Coast. I've heard you say before to me, the industry is going in a backward direction now, as far as they paying bookmakers and line makers. And, why do you think that is? Why do you think it is going in a backward direction? What can you touch on here for us?
And again, I don't like to mention, places and stuff like that, but in general, this is how it works. And Vegas is the king of this. All right. There's a lot of guys who have nice, cushy jobs, Phil, and they don't want that ecosystem interrupted. They don't want a guy like me who knows way more than they do, have seen way more than they have, to come in the door and possibly upstage them. So a guy like me has to be careful. I have to pretend like I know stuff, but I also have to hold some stuff back so I don't ruffle any feathers. Guys, it's like a little old boys club out there in Vegas where everybody's got their jobs locked down, making six figures. They don't want upstarts coming in and knocking down the door. Now, I will say with one exception, and Bill, nobody knows this, and I haven't put this on Twitter. I did work at Circa, okay? I worked there for 3 months, Matt Metcalf, and those guys are as sharp as anyone I've ever seen. So they actually let me walk in the door. They are not intimidated, but when you talk about Vegas, you need to separate Circa, because when I say Vegas, I don't mean Circa. I mean everybody else. They brought me in with open arms. And just to be honest with you, Bill, they were the sharpest room I've ever seen. I love my time there, but we're going to go back. It goes back to the money. And it's not enough money. I'm not going to get into numbers, but I was making double in 2004 what I was making 2 months ago. So wow. I gave it a shot. I tried it out. I loved it. I have huge respect for those guys. But it's just not for me right now. The age I am and the knowledge I have, I couldn't really go that far backwards.
So, Jerry, do you think that because your years offshore back in 2004, you were were you running sportsbooks? We haven't talked about that yet. You were actually running a sportsbook. Am I correct?
That is correct. 100%.
Do you think your knowledge back then in 2004, it's still with you? You're going to a place now not an entry-level job, but maybe you're moving lines or something. Do you? What's the reason why you think that they're paying so much less? Because basically, now I'm not using Circa. We can't use them, like you say. You have to separate Vegas and Circa from everything. Do you think these sports books in Las Vegas, I know the answer, but they're just following a Don Best screen and just moving the lines, basically you could pay someone $15 an hour to do that.
Well, here's what I was going to tell you, and you hit the nail right on the head again. You don't need to pay and again, maybe I'm cutting my own toes off. You don't need to pay someone like me, because what you're going to do is you're going to get a Don Best screen. I can get an entry-level college kid to come in for $12 an hour and just say, copy Sports One, copy Chris, copy Pinnacle, copy Bet Online. Whatever they do, you do. That means you don't need a brain and you don't need to pay somebody. But the problem is a lot of these guys do that, but pretend they don't. So the ones who do have the six-figure, the six-figure salaries, they act like they're not doing that, but they are. They can be replaced just as easy as anybody else. So that's the reason why. It takes talent to beat talent. And the talent right now is on the betting side of the counter. It always has been. It always will be. You can either take those guys on and pay people. And I did it. We laid, Bill, I'm jumping around. We let people lay 05 at top of the world back in 2000. Took on every single comer there was. We made money. It was hard, man. It was hard. We could beat them, but it takes talent to beat talent, and you need to be able to pay for it. And like I said, that's what Circa is doing right now, and hopefully people follow their footsteps. But what would you rather do? Sit back, kick your feet up, drink a glass of wine, watch bets come in, and have a kid at $12 an hour just chase the screen all day and throw at anyone with a clue? Or do you want to work for it? I prefer to work for it, but I'm outnumbered there.
But I'll tell you too, Jer, I think that a guy with experience and knows the pulse and the heartbeat of his customers are worth a lot, rather than a kid that's an entry-level job just moving based on seeing a line. So I think there's a value there that really is missing, and it's a component that's missing from a lot of the bookmakers in Vegas. And what happens is that they can actually make more money. At least that's my hypothesis. Mm-hmm. I think you can make more money taking all comers on, booking, finding out who your customer base is, rather than just have, an organ grinding monkey sitting there, for lack of a better word, doing nothing. So I don't know. I think that a guy like you would be worth your weight in gold, because I think that you can actually make more money for the company by taking bets, knowing who your customer base is, and knowing the pulse of that business.
That's exactly what I did. And we'll go back to what I did offshore. Very simply, I knew who my best players were, okay? As soon as they bet, I aggressively moved to get them on my side. Why would I complain about somebody beating me? Why not just get on his side and hope he wins as much as possible? I would say Bill Krackomberger's on the Cardinals lay 6. I better make sure I need the Cardinals today, and I better need them for a lot. And I can do that over and over and over again. And I root for you to win, and I respect you as opposed to showing you the door.
That's interesting. That's an interesting perspective.
I mean, I didn't invent it. I mean, it's the way you do it. It's the way you handle wise guys. You pay for information. Let them bet. And if you know that, if I sat there and said, I know this guy's going to beat me, why do I not want to need his sides? Why would I go butt heads with him? So that's what I don't understand. That's the part that they're missing, that they're not getting. If you think someone's going to beat you, you know what? Just let him bet and get on his side. Moves aggressively and need that side.
So why do they look at it that way? Why don't more casinos go with that?
Because again, there's some guys that have these nice cushy, I'm telling you, I don't want to name names. Guys making nice 6-figure jobs, go out and play golf, maybe talk on the radio. They don't earn it, okay? And they don't want someone else knocking in and disrupting that ecosystem. You bring someone like me in there, and I say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? How about the day, Bill, about 3 years ago when Don Best was down on a Saturday? There was places in Jersey that took the games off the board, okay? They stopped booking because Don Best, if you want to explain what I know sometimes I might be throwing some stuff. Don Best went down on a Saturday. There was places in Jersey, again, I'm not naming anyone, they took the games off the board. They were afraid to book without knowing what Chris and Pinnacle were using.
They don't know what to do. And Don Best is a line service. A lot of that we use in the sports books, use both sides of the counter to find out where the lines are at Chris and Pinnacle and the Sharp sports books. So they didn't know what to do because they had nobody there that knows what bookmaking is. That proves some of these people just don't deserve to be in the business they are, making the kind of money they are.
The games off the board. They stopped actively booking them because they couldn't see what other people were using. You can imagine what the Monday morning went, why's our handle down to? And the guy's just behind, they know how to, the guys that are making those numbers, they're not idiots, but they're not sharp. Like, they know how to protect their job without letting the higher ups really know what's going on.
And, to be fair, too, I know some guys that run books that make a good amount of money, and they have to answer to their board of directors, and they have to answer to the people above them in their purchase of their safety purchase that are saying, how did we lose today in the sports book? Or how did we lose this week in the sports book? So to be fair, I know that they have bosses too. If they had the freedom to book the way they wanted or the way they should, they would actually probably do better in the end at the end of the year for the sports book that they work for, the company they work for. But these guys that don't know anything up in those perches there just expect to win every week. They can grind out a little bit of a win every week instead of having big wins one week and maybe a little loss next week, or a little loss a couple weeks in a row may bother these guys upstairs. But yet in the end, we're going to make more money. So
yeah, they want to win every game, every day, every week. When that's not possible, let's kind of open up the doors a little. Let's get some more volume in here. 11 is higher than 10. We make more money, the more bets that come in, and just kind of minimize our risk. But there will be some losers. And the bean counters upstairs, we've got to accept that, or else we can never go forward. Cool.
Well, listen, Jared, before we let you go, do you have any stories from your time in Curacao or anywhere maybe that you like to share with us? I think you have a fun one.
I have two real fun ones. I'll do one because I know you're up against it. I one real fast. So I was working for an old school bookmaker in Margarita Island, Venezuela. My first trip home, he said, it was hard to get money in and out. He said, can you do me a favor? We need money from payroll. Pick up some money and bring it down to Venezuela. It was only 10,000. I had 9,900, so I wasn't breaking the law, right? So I have an envelope. I have his cigarettes. He smoked a special kind of cigarettes and 10 grand in a brown paper bag. I landed in Caracas and I left it in the taxi cab. I thought he was going to kill me. Left it in the taxi cab. Guy came around, didn't know what was in there, gave me the bag back, and I breathed a sigh of relief. That's a quick one. I was 20 years old. I thought the guy was going to kill me. 9,900 could have been $1 million to me at that point, making $100 a day. That was a fast one. Another one, when I'm in Curacao, okay, I could do this forever, but I know you don't. I'm in Curacao. I get a guy, guys like you. We spoke on AOL Instant Messenger. Remember those days?
Sure.
Without ever meeting each other. We might have talked for 5 years before ever meeting each other. So there's guys, I don't even know their first name. I don't know their last name. I know what their AOL handle is. It would send me stuff. And a guy said to me one day, if I send you a game and it says T-play, bet whatever you can. They can't lose. Bet whatever you can. I said, well, what does that mean? All right. First one comes in, I win. Next one comes in, I win. Next one comes. I said, what's going on here? I start increasing it. I bet more and more and more. We went 9-1. We lost one game only. Guy said to me, T-plays are done. Forget it. We're locking it up for the year. Knew nothing about this. What do you know? 3 years later, the Timmy Donaghy referee scandal hit the wires. What I did on my own, I looked at the box scores. I looked at my Pinnacle history account. He ref every single one of those games. So I had them without knowing. If I knew now, if I knew it then, Bill, we wouldn't even be talking right now. I'd be retired somewhere on a private island.
Of course.
But, it's like the guy that says, I got a horse. Bill, how does that work out? Never works out. I got a horse, all right? I'm over 100 when guy says they got a horse. The guy said, when you got a T-play, it's the nuts. Bet whatever you can. I went 9-1. Never 3 years later. Nobody told me what they were. I figured this out on my own. He meant Timmy. He reffed every single one of those games. I looked in the box scores and I looked at my Pinnacle history. Do you believe that?
Wow.
I was right in the middle of it without even knowing. And I lived in Curacao. So that kind of stuff happened down there with a couple of guys. If you read some of those articles, that's where it happened down there.
Yeah, no, we actually met, Jerry and I met on one of the gaming forums. We used to go back and forth and talk, and that's how we met. But I'll tell you, that's a great story. I never knew either. You never said, I've never heard you tell that story.
Yeah, I'm thinking about writing a book. I got about 100 of those, but I don't know.
Write it. Please write it.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, man, it was great to have you. Appreciate you spending some time with us today. And I know the viewers are going to be interested in some of this stuff. People, we love hearing these kind of stories, man. And we'll have you on again, Jer.
Yeah, anytime for you, Bill. You know it. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I'll tell my story anytime to you guys.
Wow, that was great. And I forgot to ask him one question, Krack. Shoebox, where did that name come from? Do you know?
I don't know. I'll have to find out. Maybe the kid kept his last bankroll money in the shoebox in the closet.
It's an incredible name. Incredible name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could listen to him tell stories as I can you for days, but unfortunately we don't have that much time. So let's get into this week's picks. And I'm curious to see what you think of me this week, Krack.
Right.
A hot week. I was 10 for 10 UFC. I did pretty good NFL. I think I got some momentum here. So I picked Cardinals versus Patriots. I think the Cardinals are a better team than their record reflects. And you know how I feel about the Patriots. I think it's over. So mark my words, Krack. I know I'm not the professional here, but I don't think they got the line right on this game. I think we're looking at a Cardinals blowout. Okay, I'd be willing to give the Patriots 10 points. That's how confident I am in my Cardinals. Okay, so I'm going with the money line on this one. What are your thoughts?
There's some places that have alternate lines. You can lay that 10 points and take a price for that also.
Yeah.
So, this line opened at 3. It's now 2. So we'll see where this goes here. Listen, you have to remember the public is watching these games too. They seen the Houston game. It was a kind of a marquee game for a lot of people. I know the sportsbook I was actually in a sportsbook that day. That was the center game. They had the Eagles on one big TV, and they had the Houston Patriot game on. So we'll see where this goes. I'm actually not going to have a dog in this fight. I'm going to root for your side on that one.
Okay, thank you. And of course, no Thanksgiving game would be complete without me betting on my Cowboys. They're playing Washington, the Washington football team, I might add. And the Cowboys, listen, Krack, they're on a roll. I mean, they've won in a row. But listen, Dalton's back. Dalton looked really good, and you know what? He looked like a leader to me. I don't know I know you don't really watch the games, but
I didn't watch that.
Okay. Yeah. He looked really strong. He looked confident. He looked like he had command of that team. And I think, all long winning streaks have to start with one win. And I think they're going to get to the second win in a row here. And I'm taking the Cowboys.
Yeah. I actually was, once Dak went down, I actually thought that Dalton was going to perform great. And I said, this guy's a veteran of 100+ games, and he failed to show me that. So, and the lines actually reflected it more. You were getting more points with Dallas because they weren't performing well, whether it was just mentally knowing that their leader was down or other reasons. But then again, this is the NFL. Look what happened. They come out and beat Minnesota, who really needed that win for their playoff contention. So very interesting game. It opened, the game opened to 3. It's still 3, and it's that Thanksgiving game. Maybe the Dallas gets up for it. I talked about this on an earlier show. Dallas is 7-10 the last 17 years against the spread on Thanksgiving Day. So it's not like they get up or momentum for that particular game on Thanksgiving Day. Both teams are usually equally excited to play on Thanksgiving. So let's see what happens.
And there's a lot on the line this week in that division. It's the division of the who's the worst. Just about everybody in that division has 3 wins. So there's like a 5-way tie for first place.
Division. Imagine if they just keep up that pace. A team that wins the division is going to be 6-10. It's crazy.
Right. It's crazy, right? I mean, has that ever happened before? I can't even think of a time.
Probably not. No.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm giving the points. I got no problem. I'm confident with my Cowboys. Okay. Moving on. This game, you gave me this earth-shattering news before we started today. The Ravens and the Steelers will not be playing on Thanksgiving Day. Is this true?
Yeah. They're not going to be playing. Not only that, they took the line off the board. There's not even a line on the game anywhere. It's kind of interesting. This game's being moved for COVID reasons. So this game may even get canceled by Sunday. We don't even know. But right now it's off the board, no line anywhere. And it's unfortunate because I like playing proposition bets on all the games on Thanksgiving Day. And this was the prime time, 8 p.m. game. So, and it's one of the games people were looking forward to, Yeah. This is the Steelers that are unbeaten, and then you have the Ravens who really need the game. They've really failed in their last few games. The last month they just haven't got back to their form that they were in last year when they really should have almost went to the Super Bowl. So see what happens. We'll see what happens by Sunday, guys.
And I want to remind the folks at home that Krack is the prop betting king, 100%. I anoint you as the prop betting king. Nobody picks the props better than you do.
Yeah, we're really doing good on props this year. We're really starting out on fire. And we're keeping the pace. So yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So for this game, I was gonna go with the Ravens. I don't think, I'm a money line guy. You've heard me say it a billion times, but I actually felt like the Ravens and the points is the winner on this one. But now, like you said, I don't know. Who knows how it's gonna shake out.
Yeah. You have a backup plan? You have a backup game?
Well, I do. I'm picking. It's funny you said. So I normally pick 3 games. I picked 4 games this week because. Okay. I feel like the Chiefs versus Tom Brady is a game I need to be involved in. And you can notice I said the Chiefs versus Tom Brady. Now I didn't even say the Chiefs versus the Bucs. Okay. Right. Yeah. So, I think this is, people may give me some grief over this. We might be looking at a Super Bowl preview. I know, people may not think. I've just learned that you can't ever count Tom Brady out. And I'm not even necessarily a fan. I respect the game. Obviously, I respect what he's done. But I don't. It's not like I'm a Cowboy fan, so it doesn't matter to me with Brady. But I really think that this is going to be a case of where we would think the Chiefs are going to go in there and do what the Chiefs do, and I think we're going to be surprised. I think Brady's going to pull this one off.
Do you like Tampa outright without the points, money line?
I do.
Okay. All right. Good. That's that you're going against. Think about it now. The public just seen again. They seen another Tampa primetime game where he really didn't perform that well. So and they lost the game. So you may get a good price here, more towards game time. So let's see what happens. People love coming into town and juicing up a team like Kansas City, who every single week people bet on Kansas City no matter what.
Myself included. I love Kansas. I love that. I really, that Mahomes, I can watch that guy play. I just think the way he drove down the field, even last week, in the fourth quarter, I mean, he just knows he looks like young Tom Brady. Like when the game's on the line, he does Montana-esque things. He does Brady-like things, I just think he's so good.
Excellent. Well, cool, man. I would actually tend to lean to your side before I lean to the Kansas City side. That's almost every week. You're getting some artificial inflation in places like Las Vegas and the Square of Sportsbooks. Good stuff, John.
Yeah, man. Well, listen, this was a tight show here, so we don't have any time for Twitter questions this week. But folks at home, please send us your questions. DM us, DM me, DM Krack. Send them wherever you got to send them. Post them on the comment section on YouTube, wherever you can find us. You can. We'll see your questions for sure.
Yeah,
and
we'll get some in down the line.
Yeah. And while you're at it, and while I have your attention at home, listen to me, guys. Download the Krack Wins app. Don't blow this. Don't do what I didn't do for so many weeks. It's a game changer, okay? Get on the Krack Wins app. All the info you need is in there to make you a winner. Check it out. It's on Apple. It's on Google. All right,
awesome.
Krack, I bragged about you. I know you don't like that.
Man. That's great. We got 2 things there. That's excellent. Good exacta there. WSN.com. WSN and of course the Krack Wins app and crackwins.com. Another great show, John. I look forward to seeing you next week, and enjoy your holiday, buddy.
Yeah, you too, man. And I am again, I just want to let you know, I am absolutely thankful that you asked me to be a part of this show. I look forward to it. You have no idea. I'm really excited to be a part of the team here.
Oh, that's great, man. We love having you, buddy.
All right,
guys. We'll talk to you next week.
We'll see you.